What did I learn today? Well, I have a very small, I actually have many gel plates, but I was thinking if I were just starting out crafting and I invested in a fairly decent printer. I have the Epson, EcoTank printer, which the ink lasts like forever. I make hundreds of prints, and it seems to go on and on. So it's a very inexpensive way to print, and it prints really beautifully. Okay, so the other thing is, so I like to work in small sometimes, and sometimes it's a matter of space. So I have this, let's see, how big is this? Okay, it's a 5 by 3, I think. Is that right? Yeah, 5 by 3 gel plate. And I play around with this a lot to experiment on things. And it's easy because I don't have a whole lot of cleanup. I don't have a whole lot to do. And I use very minimal tools. So what I did the other day, I've been on a quest. I have found that some of the markers that they claim you can use on a gel plate, and yes, you can. On this particular gel plate, and most of the ones that I have, those markers bead up. So what I've been doing is trying to experiment with those. And what I did this morning is I bought some special glue, all the glues and adhesives that I've used to put down so that I could get a smooth line with the markers, like the Posca markers. Hold on. You know, like these or smaller ones, you know, and they all bead up. They literally all bead up. And so I have been on a quest to try to find something I could put down that would keep that from happening. So far, not much luck there. I had even bought this new adhesive. I'm trying to get this hair off my thing. This new adhesive called Maker's Magic, because they said it was waterproof. And what I found with the gel matte mediums, which work actually, but when you apply paint over the top of them, like using, you know, something like this, it tends to lift up the gel medium. So that was not a solution to the problem. So far, I have not found a solution to the problem. But what I did was in the making of that test, and as you can see here, what I did was lay down that glue, that Maker's Magic glue, and I tried to make some marks. Now, sometimes on them, I got a nice distinct mark, and others I got, what I don't really mind, really, is this grungy mark, these grungy marks. And that was before I put any paint. So that was just the black that you see on top of the glue. So I discovered that, much to my dismay, it didn't give what I was going for. Not a problem, because I do like this grungy look as well, where the paint separates. As you can see, it has done here and here and everywhere. And usually I don't mind that, but I was wanting to know if there was some way I could get a clearer image. But in that quest, I have failed thus far. However, this black mark was sitting on my gel plate, and I whipped out some paints thinking, well, I think I will pick that up. And I smeared, this is some very, very, very old paint. I'm thinking 20-something years I've had this. We've lived in this house for 27 years, and I probably had it before then. Anyway, I have had to reconstitute it with water, but I love these, and I don't know if they even sell these anymore. But they're a glaze, which means they're translucent, which sometimes I like, instead of a high opaque paint. So I slapped a little bit of this, which I think is opaque, on my palette, and let me show you what I used as a palette. A plastic bag, so I will be able to pick this up with tape later on, but that's another story. So I had these two colors plus golden titanium white. So I dabbed a little bit on, rather than using the plate to put the paint and then wipe it all off, I thought, well, I will roll it on this paper, plastic, and then when I've got a good coverage on the brayer, put it on the plate. So that's what I did. So anyway, this is paint that is here, and it can build up, and I can write on top of this. You know, I could take my markers and design things on top of this and then pick it all up with packing tape and use matte gel medium to reduce the gloss of the packing tape and still leave it sticky, sort of sticky on one side. But that's another story, as I said. So this cheapo paint, not anything wonderful. I used to pick up the print. And this is the print, which you would expect would be this size. And it turned out pretty nice. I like it. And then I thought, well, what other tool do I have? And most people do have. I have my laptop, my computer, or whatever, and I have the free software that I love to use to mark things up, and that's called Silhouette Studio, and you don't have to have a cutting machine. The software is free. It does a whole bunch of really wonderful things, and you don't even have to send it to a printer. I mean, send it to the cutting machine. You can just print off your screen when you're happy with it. But I like it because it works in measurements that I'm familiar with. Plus, it just does a whole host of things that I find extremely useful for free software. Anyway, enough of that. I thought, I wonder if I could take a picture of this. And I can't show you my camera because I'm filming with it, but what I really did was took a picture, and it looked kind of like that, and I reduced it so it had no border, took a photo, and brought it into that software on my computer, and printed. I know I have 8.5 print. I also happen to have a tissue, this Japanese rice paper, or whatever they call it, calligraphy paper. I had it on a carrier sheet ready to go through my printer. So, lo and behold, and at first I was going to just stretch the image, but I decided to kind of keep the integrity of the image and just do two of them, one with reversing it, this black over here, and one with here. See, I like to make a lot of folders and booklets, and this folds up fairly nicely to be a cover of a booklet, as would the one at the top. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is I used hardly any paint, so no paint. I used the smallest gel plate that I have to play around with, and almost everybody has a camera these days that can take a fairly good picture on their phone. Free software, Silhouette Studio, and tissue paper or regular copy paper, and voila, I have this absolutely beautiful piece of paper I can work with. And it is somewhat translucent because it is that thin rice paper, and I use a piece of cardstock with a little double-sided tape across the top, and maybe a couple of tiny pieces on the side, but not very much, just mostly the leading edge. And I use that as a carrier sheet to carry things through the printer that might otherwise not make it. You don't get perfection. Here there was a bit of a wrinkle, but I don't mind that at all. Anyway, by way of limited space, if you have limited space, I'm lucky because I don't, but if I had a little apartment and I wanted to experiment with small, I would have to you can make anything bigger if you have a printer and a camera. And the interesting thing was, this print, which was the original print, had really no blue in it. I don't understand why. When I took the photo, I get this beautiful blue. I have a feeling it had to do with the gel plate. I really don't know why, because I took a photo of this, and I don't know what surface I had. I wasn't thinking so much of what surface I had when I took the picture, but the places where it doesn't have a whole lot of paint turned out blue, which I think was a great addition. Anyway, for those of you who don't have lots of money but still love to craft, don't have lots of space, and I do, but every now and then I have to put stuff away, which is a big challenge for me. But anyway, I just wanted to share what all you could do with a tiny little gel plate, 3x5, a printer, and a package of tissue paper. And you don't have to use this Japanese paper. You can use plain old tissue paper, and as I said, you could use copy paper. So play with your printer. You get, I didn't have to use a lot of paint. Pick your favorite few colors of paint, and you could minimize that supply if you want. No. and I'm a heretic because I have way too many supplies. But I always wonder how can people achieve similar things with just a few supplies. These days, technology assists you in many ways. So I hope anybody gets something useful out of this video, but I'm doing it mostly because a year from now, when I want to find out what I did and how I did this print and when I did it, I can just check my videos. So that's it for now.